time now. So let's play hockey.
All right, welcome to the Let's Play Hockey podcast. It is January 12th, 2026. We have flipped the calendar. I'm joined with Tom Holler, regional scout, columnist for Let's Play Hockey. We are Brian Bonenlist tonight. He is at the Minnesota Wild game. They're at New Jersey. It's a Monday night. You guys might not see this or hear this until a day or two or three, or we'll see. But we'll try not to make it too timely. We'll talk some general topics tonight. We're going to talk some high school hockey. That is obviously ramping up, and the holiday tournaments have gone by. Some big games last week. We'll talk about the big Edina Minnetonka matchup. Tom, I know you were there.
Still
and then
recovering.
and then we'll talk World Juniors, and then I think we'll talk a little bit Minnesota Wild.
Is Bonin leading the cheer for Let's Play Hockey,
I
or
don't know if he's doing the call
just
tonight
a
or not.
guest in a suite having some hot dogs?
Yeah.
Hmm.
They're playing New Jersey, so let's hope Hughes just stays in our locker room after the game. Right.
I think he will if he can climb over the boards nice and slow.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a relative. She's like, is something wrong with him? Because he doesn't show any emotion. I was like, he's just chill. He's just laid back. The
He's in the,
game comes
he's
easy to him.
Yeah, he's in the zone. He's always processing. He's kind of, I think, one of those, if I vision it, I can make it real. And I think it takes so much out of him mentally. He can't hop over the boards. He's got to, he looks like me at Saints roller rink back in the early mid 80s. I could never stop on skates or roller skates or anything. Terrible.
When I had rollerblades, I would just have to go up on the grass. You just kind of go from the street up on the boulevard. That would slow you down.
Right.
Um, let's talk some high school hockey.
Yeah.
Both buckets. It's been, we kind of thought out of the gate, Moorhead, obvious front runners. Minnetonka, kind of a surprise. They had that team a couple years ago with Javon Moore and Hagen Burrows and those guys, John Stout. Everyone thought was going to walk to the title, and they didn't even make the state tournament. And now this year, more of a defensive, more of a back end to the front end type team. No superstars. And they knocked off Moorhead, and now just last week, Edina knocks off Tonka. So, is this a three-team class? What are your thoughts? I mean, you've seen them all play. You watch these guys, whether it's on video or live. What's your opinion? Let's talk Tonka. I know you're a big fan of their team this year.
Yeah. I mean, we had just kind of wrapped up their run, their 2-year run, their first year when they were all juniors. They got the title, and they came back as the front runner, and then Chanhassen, that juggernaut, upset them at Braemar in the section finals. And that was pure entertainment. I mean, no matter who you were rooting for, that game was just fantastic. And it was Chanhassen's first run at state. And I still think, if Chanhassen had some more experience going to state with the bright lights and all the cameras, I think that Edina game might have turned out a little bit different. But then you never want to see that Edina jersey come out at the state tournament. I mean, it's like watching the Yankees. But this year's Tonka team, I thought, would be a vastly improved over last year. They were kind of middling, and kind of waiting for the future. And I thought that future was still maybe 2 years, 3 years away. And I think that will still come. They're going to get even better, folks. I mean, Minnetonka and Moorhead over the next 3 to 4 years, buckle up and settle down, because it's going to be a two-team show over the duration of the next few years. So get used to it. But this Tonka team is, you knew it was going to be better. You knew they'd be good, nice two-way team. But what's surprising is, without a superstar, without like a true sniper, or like a premier, NHL draft pick defensemen, they're just so balanced. I mean, they're the most balanced, deep, two-way team I've seen in a few years. And they do everything well. They've got just enough two, three, four snipers. They've got, small defensemen that are quick and can, display great four-way edge work, clear the puck, crisp passes. And they got bigger defensemen that'll just shut you down, clear the lanes for their goalie. They do everything well, and the constant forecheck and back checking. They great at lifting their opponent's sticks with their um, stick work and getting the turnovers along the half walls and deep in the corners, and they just shut down your possessions. Even a good team like Edina and Moorhead, uh, that game was up at Moorhead, and when Minnetonka took them 4-2, they just neutralize your offensive zone possessions. So you don't have 15, 20, 25 seconds and you can start cycling. There's no cycle against Tonka. It's their puck. They're relentless. Their team speed impresses too. When you see them a couple times and you watch them throughout the game, I think it took a team like Edina, who is always notoriously a good skating team. Um, it took them to stay with them throughout that third period. And it was a great game. It was a back and forth game this last Saturday at Braemar, January 10th. It was a one goal affair the whole time. 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, all the way through to overtime, 4-4. And I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a good 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes into OT, and Edina got a rebound. Bodie McConnell, I believe, passed it a little weak side slot, and Tucker Johnson finished it off. But what a game. What an absolute game. So
Well, I don't think,
entertaining.
yeah, Edina was kind of off the rate. They're never off the radar. They're always there. They're always a top five team generally. This year they lost, I think, their four top guys. But they kind of reloaded. But you talk about Minnetonka not having, that superstar. Edina doesn't either, and I think when you don't have that, I mean, McConnell's got what? He's got 20 something goals. He's having a pretty good season,
Yeah. Yep.
but when you don't have that guy that you're waiting for to do something, the Burrows or the Javon Moore, it's like, hey, when are you going to take this game over? When you got,
Jackson Evers. Yeah.
yeah, when you got three lines that can just go like gangbusters, and
Yep.
and you're strong on the blue line, and both teams are good in the crease too. A couple good
Yep.
goaltenders there.
Yep.
So, there's something to be said about that. Moorhead obviously has got more, they got more names, bigger names, I think. Obviously, winning the state tournament last year kind of elevated those kids a little bit too, and more on people's radar. Zach Zimmerman and Bergeson and Mickelson. And then you got Joey Cohen, who's out right now with an injury that happened in the Tonka game.
Correct.
So, and I think he won't be back. I think we've heard through the grapevine, not in concrete, but I think we've heard, probably not till February.
Yep.
Uh, could be wrong on that. I'm not sure, um, but I think that's maybe the difference between Tonka's team a couple years ago. And I've been on teams or been around teams where sometimes having, a superstar or a draft pick or, a high end player or two high end players doesn't always result in success because, the other guys just kind of wait around for those guys to get it done.
Yep.
And it's hard for one or two guys to win high school hockey games, you know.
Yep.
I mean, you need nine forwards, you need 4 to 6D, 5D, and of course you gotta have a good goaltender too. So but you've seen Moorhead, they're fun to watch, their power play is special. Offensively, they're good. That Mickelson boy, um, the way he jumps up into the play, you know,
He's a mini Quinn Hughes right now.
yeah.
I
And
saw them take on Benilde, St. Louis Park this past Friday on the 9th, and Mickelson looked. I thought it was Quinn Hughes. I mean, the reverse pivoting, the leading the charge through the neutral zones, and just starting the cycle behind the net. I'm like, man, I've seen people, on D pinch, but this kid is just he's a fourth forward. End of story. He's just
Yeah.
confident, smooth, and entertaining to watch. And he looked real good against St. Thomas. And I think, they dominated Benilde Friday night, and they played St. Thomas within, 18 hours was the puck drop from end of the Friday night's game to the St. Thomas game in the afternoon on Saturday. And I think they looked a little bit. You saw some of the bus legs in the second, third period a little bit. Not to take anything away from St. Thomas, they played a great two-way game, and you just got to forecheck them. I mean, Minnetonka laid the blueprint in mid-December. You just got to forecheck Moorhead, and you got to forecheck Tonka. That's the key. It's the key to beating any team at this level is just constant pressure, you know, and being able
Mhm.
to skate with someone for 3 periods. And St. Thomas did that, and they've got a nice little goalie as well um, coming up. So it's going to be interesting. But the start of your question was Minnetonka, Moorhead, Edina. Is it a three-team race? Yes, but I think that Minnetonka and Moorhead are just still a little bit of a step ahead of Edina overall. I think they've got just a little bit more in the tank, top to bottom, better roster depth. The only thing on each Minnetonka and Moorhead is I just don't know that either goalie's truly proven in big games and going to win the section title in the state tournament. I think Chase Bjorgard at Edina can be that guy. He's got the quick twitch athleticism and he's got just magnificent lateral footwork. They just got to keep a path cleared for him so he can see the puck. And
Sure.
Edina struggles at that a little bit. Moorhead and Minnetonka don't struggle at that. They protect their goalie and they seal off all the weak side slot rebounds, and it's a tremendous team effort. I'd put Tonka Moorhead at the highest tier, and I think there's a slight ledge of about 5-6 feet, and then Edina. Then I think there's another tier, and I
Do you
think it's
throw, do you throw St. Thomas in with Edina there? I mean, they just tied Moorhead. I know you said Moorhead coming off a night game before that. But boy, they're loaded. I mean, they're good. I mean, they can go.
oh
Um,
yeah, oh yeah.
Brunshausen
They've
and
got two nice lines. Their top line is just phenomenal. Um, Maverick McKinnon, Cole Brunshausen, and Mikan are just phenomenal. And again, perfect mix of youth and leadership in Brownshausen. But St. Thomas, I think defensive depth maybe is a little bit lacking. And the young goaltender, we might have to edit this. Owen, his name escapes me. Owen
Mhm.
Ryan, I think his name is. Owen Ryan from St. Thomas, the goalie via White Bear Lake, by the way. Um, they're right there with Edina. Absolutely. On any given night, they can upset, Edina and vice versa. They played a tight game at Prior Lake at the Tradition Invitational, and Edina squeezed that one out. Um, so they're right there. I think they belong with Edina on that second tier. And then I think, teams 5 through 12 are the next level. And those are my three tiers. That's what I would go with.
You got a sleeper in there?
Boy,
That Owen Ryan's only a freshman,
yes, he is. Correct.
so their goalies are young.
Yeah. And he's a freshman, kind of brought in from White Bear Lake. And, they got a backup, Jackson Crary, who's a really good player. He played a handful of games last year, stepped up and helped beat Edina. Um,
Yeah,
early mid season last year. He's a good player too. So St. Thomas has got all you need. They're right there. They're top four, top five team. I would personally, um, as nice a season as Shakopee's having right now, I would put St. Thomas ahead of Shakopee. A little
Mhm.
bit tougher schedule, debatable, but I think right now through 2/3 of the season, I think it's a little tougher schedule and a little deeper team. St. Thomas has over Shakopee. Sleeper team, I think all the rest of the top 10 are fairly noteworthy and everybody's fairly familiar. Um, I wouldn't want to play St. Michael Albertville in the sections. If you take them lightly, I think you might get an awakening you're not going to be in the mood for. And they proved that to Edina just last Thursday.
Yeah. Well, looking ahead on to this week, and some of these games might be over by the time this pod drops, but tomorrow night, Tuesday, Edina at St. Thomas Academy.
The
Uh,
rematch.
yep, Thursday, Edina at Maple Grove, and then STMA is at Tonka. Uh,
Yes.
those,
It's a big week.
yeah, and then Maple Grove plays Edina and Minnetonka this week, and that's it. Maple Grove's a team that could knock off either of those teams.
Um,
No, you don't think so?
Rankings wise, on paper, maybe, arguably. Real world brass tacks, no.
Well, if
I,
STMA can knock off a team, I think Maple Grove can knock off one of those teams.
we'll see. I'm gonna say I'd be shocked to see that. I don't know that they've got the defensive depth and the firepower in the second and third lines to hang with either of those teams deep into the third period. St. Michael's got a lot of confidence, and they're that team when their goalie's hot. They've got some slick forwards who've got some sneaky speed that get to the net in quick bursts. And, they when they're up and they're on, look out. They had 8 in a row. And I think the Edina victory gave them last Thursday, the eighth, gave them 9 in a row. But then, as we all know with sports, and especially with high school kids, 2 nights later, they lose to Buffalo.
Right.
So, but on any given night, absolutely, you're right. Um, if FanDuel extended down into the high school ranks, I'd be surprised if they could hang with Tonka, and um, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what makes high school hockey great, right? Is that a team like St. Michael Acad or St. Michael Albertville can bump off one of the big dogs.
So
You know,
I would say they're a sleeper that I would look at. Who else would be a good sleep? I've got a sneaky feeling people will argue about strength of schedule, which is valid. But in section one, as we all know, we want to see some competition there. And I think you might get it. I think you could see a section semi or section final. And I wonder if those Farmington boys are going to upset Lakeville South.
well, they just beat them.
Boom.
So, we put some scores and rankings obviously out on social media, and a lot of people were kind of barking at us, say, hey, why isn't Farmington ranked? They haven't even lost. And obviously
Strength of schedule.
strength the schedule. Some
Yeah.
people just don't understand that. It's like, well, they got 12 wins and Lakeville has 5. What the heck? It's, well, look at
Right.
Lakeville schedule and look at Farmington's schedule.
Right.
Now, nothing away from Farmington because obviously they've proven that this group is really, really good. Um, but I think that will be good for that section. You and I talked.
Absolutely.
I think we need some section realignment. Um,
Absolutely.
but nothing against Lakeville South, great program. But for them to, now it's interesting. It's not just a Lakeville South, Lakeville North team. We had a Rochester team get through, was that 2 years ago when Mayo
Century.
or Century got in?
It feels like 2 years, three, two.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no, don't sleep on Farmington. I think they
Yeah.
could be a sleeper team now. Uh, if they do and we thought last year Lakeville South was going to get waxed in the quarters against, gosh, was it Moorhead that
Morehead.
they played?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Morehead.
and they were beating them there for a while, gave them a
They
good game.
were. They
They got
skated
up.
with it really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
uh,
Carter Ernst is maybe waiting to be unleashed. And I think when the clocks turn and February hits us, I think you'll see Carter Ernst dial it up a notch or two. And we'll see how Lakeville South does. But Farmington would be a sleeper. I mean, we could name Stillwater and we could name Rosemount, but they're in the top 10, so that's not really a sleeper, right?
Right.
So I think Farmington in section one, I think St. Michael, they're in section five or eight.
They're an 8, so they
They're in
got
eight.
Moorhead, yeah.
Oh boy. Well, that sleeper just got woken up, didn't they?
Well,
But I
but
still, you never know. But it'll be a tough task, especially when Joey Cullen comes back early mid-February, just in time for, I'm gonna say 2, 3 games, and then sections start. Moorhead will be firing on all cylinders. I mean, they're dynamite without Joey Cullen. When he comes back and gets a few games under his belt, when sections come in to play, oh boy, that's going to be fun to watch. And hopefully the brackets work out at state where you see the top teams get to face off against each other and hopefully a fun upset in there. But at the end of the day, I think you'll see some early upsets for fun, but I would be really surprised if you didn't see Minnetonka or Moorhead hoist the trophy because they are that top tier and they're
right,
so deep, so
yeah.
well coached.
Couple other teams maybe on that in that sleeper mode. Looking at Section 7 Double A, Duluth Marshall has kind of been the favorite there, but Forest Lake just entered our rankings last week.
Yeah, they're kind of the Farmington of north of 694, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then in 5 Double A, Maple Grove, they're the obvious favorite, but there's several teams there that could bump them, I think.
Blaine,
You got Blaine, you got Centennial, and
Centennial's always a tough.
Tino
tough-
Gray. Centennial's beat some good teams this year.
Yep,
They
yep,
play a pretty strong schedule. So, and then
they do.
Andover's in that section too. So,
Yep,
um, so a
yep.
lot to look forward to for section hockey coming up here this week. Like we talked about, lots of big games. A couple teams we didn't talk about um, are Hibbing in Class A, Hibbing, Chisholm, and Hermantown. 1-2 there, and they play Tuesday tomorrow night. So that should be a good one.
Yeah,
But
that's a really. I wish I'll be at the Edina St. Thomas game, and maybe I could even stream on my phone that Hibbing game because that's just you can't beat it. That's one versus two, right? I
yeah,
believe.
yep. Well,
Um,
right now, Hermantown's 1, Hibbing's 2, but I'm actually in the midst of doing the rankings, and by the time the rankings come out, Hibbing will be 1 and Hermantown will be 2.
yeah. I
Uh,
think that game should be everything you want in a midseason matchup. I'd give the slight edge to Hibbing. Where's it at? Is it at Hermantown?
it's in Hermantown.
Is it? Okay. So I- that's a factor, but slight edge to Hibbing with some of the little bit more veteran experience. But then I think Hermantown might, with Bryce Francisco has the better goalie, I think. So well, that's going to be fun to watch. That's one that I'll stream and pay for, even if I have to watch it a day late on a replay. That it's worth it. If you can't make that game, you can't stream it live, folks. It'll be worth the watch. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Pay
Plus,
it,
I mean,
watch it the next day when you can or whatever. That'll be a classic.
plus a section game, um, and just the northern atmosphere, which is just
Yeah.
so much
Yep.
fun, you know.
Can't beat it.
Yep. And good players on both sides. Well, let's move on from high school hockey. Let's talk a little bit of World Juniors. St.
Can I
Paul.
mention one thing? I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Brian. I
Yeah,
want to set the apple cart. I would say put on your calendars this Saturday, the 17th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Hermantown is at Shakopee.
they are. Yeah.
That's a early afternoon game, I think, 2 o'clock or so. That would be a game I would attend or stream if possible. That's a really interesting game between the two classes, two top ranked teams, fourth, fifth team in double A and the second ranked team in A. That's a statement game there.
Yeah, that'll be a good test for both
Yes.
teams. And that's a team we didn't talk a lot about is Shakopee, but obviously they're a team that's right there too. Um, so they're going to be a team to watch down the stretch.
Yep.
Um, okay,
Definitely.
let's change lanes to the World Juniors. I know you spent a lot of time both at Mariucci and at Grand Casino, and the hockey was outstanding. I mean,
It
uh,
really was. For those
it,
of us who were there.
yeah, yeah. Um, Tell me about who impressed you, what impressed you about the tournament. Obviously, the hockey, I mean, fast, crisp passing, just the energy was off the charts. Obviously, these
Right.
kids play with passion, and it's just fun to watch them wearing their country on their chest, and
Yeah.
going out and battling. So, but what were your thoughts?
Well, the thing that was fun for me to see was the nationalism, the fans that are from each of these countries that showed up and cheered their team on all the way through. They really showed up well, especially the Swedish fans and the folks from Czechia that supported their team. Those two squads had some good fan support, and that was fun to see the colors walk around from the beginning to the end of the tournament. Um, and the level of play was beyond. I mean, I've seen World Juniors every year. I love to watch it, but I think World Juniors is that niche level and niche tournament where it's the puck heads, the total hockey geeks that get into it and truly follow it for future draft picks and see where people are at. And if someone's already been drafted, to see where they're going. And if your team has one of those guys, as the Wild do, um, so it's just a lot of fun. And I was scouting a few players for Redline for draft eligibility in 2026 this June, um, which they just announced is at Buffalo, by the way. So it was really interesting to watch. Obviously, the earlier rounds were a little bit predictable. So some of the lower teams like Germany and Denmark struggled, but that's expected. And as it went on, it just kept building, building, building. And two of the top stars, Ivar Stenberg for Sweden, and Gavin McKenna for Canada, they started a little bit slow. And it's like any tournament, right? You're pulled from your national team or you're pulled from your college team or your junior, Canadian junior team, USHL team, and you're on a new line with new players. You played with them in the summer for a week or two, but that's been 4 months ago now. So you're kind of reacclimating for 3, 4 days, and then all of a sudden you're in a tournament. I mean, it takes a little time to
Yeah,
build up the chemistry and the timing. So that took a little bit, but once those first 2, 3 games are out of the way, the Stenbergs and the McKennas really took off. And both of them finished in the top five in scoring. McKenna, I think, finished second overall in scoring and was a +7.
yeah,
And a lot of the prognosticators and national writers and scouts, they're a little bit hard on a kid who just turned 18 during the tournament. This
yeah,
kid's a high school senior and he's at Penn State already, and he finishes second in World Juniors. So I think critiquing him and saying, oh, I don't know if he's the number one pick, he might be 2 or 3. Well, what's wrong with that? He's 17,
yeah, yeah.
just turned 18.
If you
So he
got,
doesn't have the man strength yet, but he'll get there. And when he does, he's a dynamic player.
well, I know you're a big fan of Stenberg too.
Love Stenberg.
If you had, I'm going to put you on the spot now.
I've already got an answer.
If you had the number one pick, overall pick for whatever team that's going to get that number one pick, who do you take? Who do you grab?
Do I need an offensive forward or do I need a defenseman? That's the key. If I need a
You,
forward,
you need a forward.
I'm gonna lean. I'm gonna go with McKenna because I'm drafting him for success as a 21, 22, 23-year old and beyond. And I'm not drafting him as a 17, 18-year-old. Number two, I'd go Stenberg. And it's
Okay.
1A and 1B. Okay. Um, McKenna is more of your outside in sniper, but leans a little bit more of a um, setup man, assist man, power play assist man than he is a true sniper. But he can do that when called upon if need be. But I just think that when he fills out, puts on 15, 20 pounds, he's got the frame for it, ends up at 6'1". Um, I think that's your long-term number one. I'd go McKenna. But, if you've got that guy on your team already, if you're the Kings or and you've got Kempe or you've got you're Buffalo and you've got Alex Tuck on your team, well, then I go Stenberg. And
Okay.
Stenberg is, again, when he fills out his offensive production, his back checking, forechecking, power play, I think without the warped personality, I think he is um, a clone of Marchand.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I think he's got that bulldog tenacity. He fights down low for space. He creates on top. He's deployed in all situations. He's a great two-way player. Um, Everywhere that kid plays at every level, he's almost equal in points and goals wherever he's at. So he's just one of those balanced players with the tenacity, but I just don't think you're going to get that personality swings of a Brad Marchand, but he's that type of guy.
Yeah, I think McKenna, watching him, the way he moves the puck into areas where you don't normally see and just makes plays where plays don't look like they're going to happen. I think, like you said, I think he projects more to a 30 goal, 50 to 60 assist guy, than a 40 goal, 30 assist guy. But
Right.
he,
He kind
yeah,
of, he plays a little bit like you want to see him activate more. You want to see him engage physically and go to the wall in the corners and battle himself. He's still a little bit floaty and lets other people do that dirty work. And then he gets the puck and then finishes it. And he's fantastic at it. But you want to see that growth. So I think another year in the NCAA would do him well. I think he needs to fill out. But he kind of plays like the Iceman used to fly in Top Gun, he's just there, he's just laying in the weeds, and he just has all that patience and outwaits you and lets you make a mistake, and then he's got you. I kind
yeah,
of think he's one of those guys. He's the Iceman, And when you get a little bit tired and you kind of drift a little, he pounces and he converts and he's off and running and um, makes you look like a fool. But he's dynamic to watch. Got an unbelievable release on his snapshot. But Stenberg's got a better two-way game right now. If I needed a defenseman, I really like the kid at North Dakota, Keaton Verhoff, off of Team Canada. Um, Big, tall, good speed, and just an offensive run. Because he doesn't turn eight. Get this. I don't believe he turns 18 until June.
and he's draft eligible.
Yes,
Okay.
by 4 months. But I mean, this kid's 17 and he's 6'4", 210.
What about the USA kid, the Chase Reed?
Really good player. Had a good tournament, but there's some flaws in his game still. Sometimes a little bit overhandling of the puck, a little bit turnover prone, but that just comes with experience. I think he just may have turned 18 too, so he's a youngster and he's got a ways to go. But these kids, Chase Reed, Keaton Verhoff, they've got runway, they've got time, and their ceiling is just so high. So if I needed a defenseman, I'd lean Keaton Verhoff. Chase Reed would be maybe more number 20 to number 32, mid to late first round for me.
Okay. Let's talk Team USA a little bit. Obviously, I think they struggled. We know that they weren't going to be as strong as in the last couple years.
Right.
And I talked about, the D zone play was, maybe wasn't as good as it needed to be to get to where through the semis into the gold medal game. Um, but a couple forwards there, Will Zellers, obviously impressed. Um,
Definitely. The
I,
late addition that he was.
yeah, which is surprising
It
because
is.
he really stood out as the way that McKenna can make plays when plays aren't there. It's like Zellers just seems to show up where the puck is a
Yep.
lot,
He's a
especially
gamer.
especially when it's around the net.
Yep. He's just a gamer and he knows where to be a play ahead. He doesn't follow the puck. He leads the puck, right? He leads the play and he's just got a nose for the net and such quick hands, unbelievable vision and timing. And he's the kid that, whatever line he's on, you can move him up and down the lineup. You can sit him for a game and then he play him the next two games, put him on the puck. He doesn't need time and to develop the chemistry and the timing. He's ready to go. And you don't see that with people, but sometimes there's just born scorers and gamers. And Will
Right.
Zellers is that.
Yeah, he just seems to elevate
Fun to
his
watch.
game
Fun
in
to watch.
a given situation.
Yep.
There's some grumblings about attendance being down. Um, I looked at some numbers and I think St. Paul, Minneapolis ranked sixth out of the last 10 years, or maybe it was seventh. And there was a there was a COVID year, and then there's a year where it was in Edmonton in August, and they only drew like 55,000. But we did outdraw Sweden, um, which was surprising.
Right.
But a couple factors too. When it was in Buffalo, I think they drew 211,000. Now, they announced that we had 184,000 fans at World Juniors.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's sold tickets or that's, because
Let's check the cameras on the turnstiles on that one.
yeah. But that said, when Team USA, when the home team, doesn't get to the semis and to the finals,
Huge deal.
it's a huge deal. And I didn't know Buffalo, it was so close to Toronto and just,
Yep.
just up the road
Yep.
there. There's
Yep.
some pretty big hockey towns in Canada.
Yeah.
Um, so I think the attendance was good. Obviously, when Team USA played, people showed up.
They did.
Um, but again, this is Minnesota. Everyone's got their kids running here and there to tournaments and games and practices and whatnot. But what were your overall thoughts on attendance? Do you think we could have? Think the state of hockey could have shown up a little bit better, or do you think it was kind of par for the course?
You know, the hope was that they would show up better. You look back on it and wish it would have been better attendance, but it's par for the course too. And I think that, whoever controlled the ticketing packages, the pricing thereof. And I'm told it's the IIHF, so it's not USA Hockey, it's not the Wild, it's not Grand Casino corporate, it's the IIHF, the International Ice Hockey Federation. And so when I was at the summer showcase, which was all of these teams down at Mariucci down at the U in early August for a week, they had, on an A-frame, they had these big banners and posters and all these salespeople lined up, and they had the ticket packages listed. And you could only, at that time in August, and I think through October, you could only really get ticket packages. And you had your package for Grand Casino, and you had your package for the teams at Mariucci. And you split Canada and the US up, and I think that creates a divide in, well, wait a minute, I want to mix and match. These two should be in the same division, maybe. Maybe attendance goes better, draws better that way. But you get past that, and then you look at the ticketing, the packaging prices, they were high, extremely high. I
I
mean,
think
I
out of
think,
the gate they were high. And then
yeah,
if you went day of or got even, waited, had the patience to wait, but then it's hard because, games are at 1 o'clock,
people
five
make
o'clock.
plans. It's over the holidays. And like you said, it's a niche sport and it's a niche level and it's great and really fun if you're into hockey, and I mean into hockey. But most people here, it's the Wild and the Gophers. That's it. And
Right.
that's all they do. And they don't really even engage in high school hockey. And then there's your high school hockey crowd,
Yep.
and they engage in the Gophers and the Wild. But geez, I go to all these games in the fall, the winter, and into April, and I'm running kids around to the holiday tournaments. And some parents got the hockey, and that's loaded, and or basketball, and that's loaded. But you've got Vikings finishing their season, the Timberwolves are playing, the Wild are playing, and then oh, by the way, the tickets are expensive and I can only buy certain packages? Huh. And if I do wait to attend a one single, a single game outing and we decide to go, we've already got plans because it's Christmas, it's New Year's. People here travel for the holidays too. It's just you roll it all together and it's like maybe this tournament needs to stay in the Ottawas and the Edmontons where no offense to our friends to the north, but that's the only game in town and it's going to draw. Here,
Right.
there's three, four, five games in town, college, pro, high school, youth tournaments. It's all over the map. And by the time it got affordable, it's the day of.
Right.
And
Right.
I think there's a missed marketing sales opportunity there, but live and learn.
Yeah, I think the people that I heard that did attend from a fan standpoint, really enjoyed it, had a blast. The hockey was great. And like you said, to see all the different nations there and their fans, pretty cool to watch. And now we got the Olympics coming up. And this is almost kind of a precursor, right? So, our Team USA didn't fare too well here at juniors, but I kind of like our chances. I like our team heading into the Olympics, and we'll talk about that on an upcoming pod. Anything else on World Juniors?
Well, I think the other layer, and I've been guilty of this in my life for sure. Wait a minute. It's on. I'm a puck head. I'm a puck geek. Guilty as charged. I've got the NHL network, and you're telling me it's on HD on my screen at home?
Right. Well,
Lines,
I mentioned that in the
my
article.
fridge, my bathroom, my couch. I'm good.
Yeah, I
It's a
mentioned.
factor.
Oh, it is. I think, and I said it's kind of a catch-22. Those that have the NHL network are into hockey a lot more than those who aren't. And if
Right.
you don't have NHL network, you're probably not into
Correct.
juniors because you're
Correct.
world junior.
Right.
Um, so, and if you do have NHL network and you got a 65-inch screen TV like everybody does now, it's pretty fun to just sit at home and watch back to back and flip, and whatnot. And then if the Wild are playing, you're flipping over to them or, so yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's with our TV packages nowadays, going to games is, it's obviously competition because, it's pretty easy to sit in your recliner and drink a lot cheaper beer and not have to stand in line when you got to go take a leak, right?
Hey,
There's something to
well,
be said about that.
everything's a factor when you roll it up.
Yeah, right. Um,
When I did go to the semis and the finals Sunday, Monday, um, it was a blast and it was a lot of fun. And that lower bowl was packed. And
yeah,
here's the other thing. Does it need to be in an 18, 19, 20,000 seat arena? Or should all of those games been at William Arena and create that market where it's limited availability, get in now and push that demand and the intro games, the prelim games, are those at Ritter
I would think
and Mariucci at 10,000 seats?
yeah, if you got Germany and Slovakia playing, you probably want to peg that one for a smaller venue. Um,
That maybe that makes a difference too, right?
and I just don't think you can expect, a bunch of Americans to show up and watch Germany and Slovakia. It's just probably not going
Juniors.
to happen. It probably doesn't
Right,
happen in Canada either,
right,
or in
right,
Sweden when they play.
right.
So, nothing against those countries, but
We're
um,
glad to see the growth.
yeah, yeah, and even those countries that you know historically haven't been great, they're a lot better.
Oh,
They're
absolutely.
a lot better.
Yep.
So, um, okay, I'm going to do a quick read here. One of our sponsors is Absolute Filth. Absolute Filth is the best smelling, highest quality wax on the market. They have three different level grips on their tachometer. They have light, everyday, and super. From Northern Lights to Blue Line Rush to Dragon's Blood to Cake Eater. Absolute Filth has your stick covered. You can find these flavors and more at www.hockeywax.com, at hockey retail outlets throughout the land. And of course, they will be at the Let's Play Hockey Expo March 6th and 7th, which is right around the corner.
What
Holler, I
what
better see you there.
you will. What are those levels again? What are their names for the
They got a light, an everyday, and a super. So they got different levels of wax. It's called a tachometer. So if you want kind of a
Yep,
more sticky, less sticky.
sure.
When I played, I was head to heel to toe wax.
Yeah, the Lester Hayes of Hill Murray.
Yeah, absolutely. But they got Dragon's Blood, Blue Line Rush, Cake Eater. You got to check them out. The graphics that
That's
they have
that's
are super
that's
cool.
fantastic.
Where was this when I was a kid? You know,
That's just great. And I love the Game of Thrones vibe. And then, well, let's name this one Cake Eater.
Cake Eater. I figured you like that one.
Dragon's Blood. And then Cake Eater. That's great.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, absolute filth. Good people run that company, Minnesota-based company, and check them out, www.hockeywax.com. Let's talk a little bit wild. We haven't had a chance to dive into them a little bit. We always text back and forth on our
Yeah.
thoughts. And coming into the season, we're like, boy, I don't know.
True geeks.
Are we playoff ready? Or is this a team that we can expect to get past that first round? And they go out and make this huge move. And initially, when they made the move, you and I are like, holy buckets, we just sold the farm. What are we going to do if Hughes
Yeah,
leaves?
I got a little, I wouldn't say I was dropping tears, but I got a little bit misty over Zeev leaving. I was a William guy. I liked him a lot. I still think he's got a heck of a future in front of him. So, I was fine with the trade, but the Zeev was a sting, and then another first round pick, that was a sting. But knowing the draft like I do coming up in June, it's a good draft, don't get me wrong. It's a nice depth draft, but with the Wild slotted probably even if they were to drop, they'd still be 20 to 32 in the first round. Okay, I can live with that. So it was really about seeing Zeev leave, and that kind of bummed me out. But then that was Friday night. And then I think as we digested it and really looked at Quinn Hughes over the years and his highlight reels, by Sunday night, I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get this done. You know? I mean, Billy had to do something and he did it. You can't fault him. He made the
No,
move. He was bold and um, we gave up some future guys, but um, you know, watching Hughes, he's just so dynamic. And I mean, he just adds so much offensive flair from the blue line, which this team's needed since day one, right?
right?
We got rid of Brent Burns, unfortunately. So we've had some nice defensemen come and go. We've got some good players there, but we haven't had an all-star caliber, top 10 scorer, top three defenseman with that kind of offensive ability who takes the pressure off of Brock Faber, right? So that Brock can show some of his offensive skills, which have
Right.
picked up lately. And I think his pace has picked up too. It's like the whole team's pace picked up with Hughes.
Hmm.
Everybody kind of woke, more than half the team's got a no move, no trade. But when they see a big move like that, a big trade happening, it kind of wakes people up. It jolts people. Wow, I get my rear in gear. And look at
Agreed.
this kid come in who's 5'10" and a half in all reality, buck 70, buck 75 max. And look at the way he plays. I mean, he's just dynamic. He's got the quickest hands and the vision is off the charts. His feel for the game. I mean, people say, well, you need time to gel. You got to build chemistry. He, boom, he's off and running. It's like he's at the pond.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that he's a different player in that he's playing pond hockey, and these guys are few and far between.
They
Gretzky is,
are.
it's like he's playing pond, and everyone else is playing NHL hockey, and you don't really appreciate Hughes until you watch him every night or every
Right,
time they play.
right,
Um, so
right.
to be able to see him now for, however many games it's been, a dozen or whatever. I don't even think it's been that many, but you don't really understand how good he is until he gets a puck on a stick
Yeah.
and he's just kind of playing in the offensive zone. He's just kind of, doing power turns here and cutting and
His
dishing and
his the loose term four-way edge work, or he's got great edges. I mean, I don't even know if that describes his footwork. There needs to be a new term besides edges or edge work to describe Quinn Hughes. It's
yeah.
just even and for me, okay, the scoring's there, the positioning is there. He's a great defenseman that steers attackers away instead of physically pounding them into the wall or the corner. He steers and clears, right? And he
Mhm.
does that with footwork, smarts, and a great stick. And that compensates for his lack of size. But to me, when you see him maybe overskate or actually once every 50 times he handles the puck, there's a little dribble off his stick and he gets in quote unquote trouble, or he's falling and someone's closing in on him, right? He gets out of it every time. He's like a squirrel out there running up a tree. And he may fall and somehow he'll still swipe the puck over to Faber or keep it in the offensive zone, kick it back down to the goal in the middle of the ice, and he'll get out of trouble and back on his feet in a blink of an eye. And I've never seen someone recover like that. And so I think that's why he climbs over the boards, because he's so tired. His heart rate is about 160 and he just can't get over the board. So he's just,
Yeah. You, you
he's
wouldn't
fun
know
to
it. He
watch.
seems so calm and collected. Sometimes it looks like you got to check him for a pulse, you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think it's like, right. It's like the duck on the water, right? Just super calm and underneath. Brrrr, and his heart's just dung, 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 dung.
yeah.
So that's my theory why he climbs over the boards like he does. But he's a great player. My one question to you is this: he makes us better. The Wild are so much fun to watch right now, right?
Mhm.
It's entertaining team to watch. Does he help us get out of the first round?
Oof.
Right.
Playoff hockey's different. We know that.
Exactly.
Did we get tougher? Did we get stronger? Now, I'll say the bigger factor in us getting out of the first round is one being healthy, but is would be the play of that. I think Trennan's game has gotten a ton better. He makes us tougher
Leads the
in a
league
way,
in hits still, I think.
I think so, in a way that he hasn't since he's been with us, in a way that maybe we haven't had that guy. Um, you
Better
know,
vertical speed with him, too.
yep, yep. Uh, I want to say yes, but like I said, it's just it's a whole different animal.
I
I
know.
think
And
I think we're going to have to be very good on the power play when we get the man advantage. We got to capitalize in the
every
playoff.
time, every time.
And now it's 97 and 12. Here it is. It's time to elevate. It's time to show that you're not just 90, 100 point regular season guys.
Yeah. 14, too.
14-2, and
Got to get him healthy and rested here.
we got to crank it up. And you and I have talked, he's kind of the heart and soul of that team. 14 is we need him healthy and we need him in front of the net just causing trouble, you know.
Yeah. Chaos.
Yeah, and I think he's that guy. So I optimism is high, but realism is always kind of on the other shoulder.
Especially with the NHL format, right? It's not 1-8-2-7-3-6-4-5. It's the
Right?
divisional rivalry formatting.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman. Talking to you, Gary.
So we'll see. But one thing we haven't talked about that I think we're just as good, if not better than anybody in the league, is our goaltending.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think we're
We're
as
set
good
there.
now. Could we add another center? I think Yurov's been damn good. Um, I
Playoffs
don't.
will be an experience for him.
Yep, but I don't know if we need to add another piece. What do you think? Do you think we go out and make one more move?
Well, I don't know what do you want to give up more future assets for that? I think we're at that point where I don't want to give up more future. We've done that enough with Urasek and Hughes. One out of two ain't bad, but I kind of want to protect those. And so that leaves the roster as it is most of it has no move, no trade. So who can you really move? Do you really want to get rid of them? What do you get back? I don't know that we'd get anything back, whatever assets we have that would push us into the playoffs. I think I'd be hard pressed to know what that might be. Hey, maybe. And will Billy try? He will. He absolutely will.
Yeah,
Um, but it also can't be with the Buffaloes and the Pittsburghs. And it's like, if you're going to make a move, you got to really mix it up and make a move.
right.
I just don't know that we have the assets to give away that people want, where we'd get something that would make a difference in one player. I think we're still 2, 3 players away from being a true cup contender. They'll say online, especially just yesterday and today, oh, we got the third highest percentage chance of winning the cup. Well, what genius put that together? He looked at the overall standings and saw us in third place and said,
Right.
we've got the third highest. I mean, that's neat in mid-January, but it's mid-January. You've got third place overall in the NHL, but ironically enough, because this is Minnesota, that means you're third place in the conference and you're third place in your own division because, of course, your own division is dynamite.
Right. Right.
And so that's going to make getting out of the first round tough. Quinnesota is the rage. He's fun to watch, so dynamic, and it's pure entertainment. I don't know that we get out of the first round because of Quinn. I just think when you look at the most recent games with Colorado, Nashville, right there before the holidays, and the back-to-back LA Kings games, LA is not the team that Colorado is. They're not as big and heavy as Nashville is. But the LA Kings are like the Minnetonka Skippers of the NHL. They've got a good goalie, they've got solid D, they got two good lines with just enough snipers who forecheck you to death and play just a heavy enough game that by the third period, your team, the Wild, who's still small and small on the defensive end, get worn out and they pull away late and they take the game 4-3, 3-2, and they might go to overtime, but that's how the Kings beat us. Vegas can do that to you. Dallas, obviously, Colorado. I hope I'm wrong. Play it
Yeah.
back and put it in my face, but I don't know that we get out of the first round.
I think Yurov, the way that he went after, I can't remember who laid the hit on Zuccarello. But when Zuccarello got blasted there in the neutral zone and
Yep.
you're up in the corner,
That
five
was
seconds
great to
later,
see. Yeah,
I say, you know what? Let's stick with that kid. I think
absolutely.
I think he's ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
You show us that, you know, you're
This
gonna
kid
set a
before
record.
practice, he's running stairs
Yeah, really.
on practice days. They
Yeah,
got him, over at what is it, Tria? What's that?
Tria. Yeah.
Tria? Yeah, he's over at Tria before practice and game days, and he's running stairs, and I'm just like, all right, kid, back in Zuccarello and running stairs, you sold me. I'm in.
He must be doing the Eck workout because Erickson Eck apparently, I think it was gosh, who do we have on? I don't know if it was Ness or if it was Skahan that we had on the pod last year, and they said he's just an animal. I
Yeah.
mean, he'll
He's
work
running
out for
hills,
an
doesn't
hour
he?
before practice and for 2 hours after practice.
And in the off season back home, he's running hills, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Kind of doing the Walter Payton, Jerry Rice off season workouts.
yeah. Rocky Four, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
The sled dogs put away. Get Eck
yeah.
up front and let's go.
But let's not sleep on goaltending. I think if anything's going to get us through the first round, obviously Hughes is a huge addition. But the addition of Wallstead can't be underestimated in what he's brought to the team. And,
Yeah.
and having that 1-2 punch. Now, I don't know if they rotate in the playoffs or if they're just going to go with one guy. Hopefully
Yeah.
they're both well enough where we can just,
Yeah. I think you build that tempo during the season, let the experts handle it. That's above our pay grade and see what they do. But if there's an injury or if someone has an off game or two, you know that you've got legit backup too, that can take it over and go. And I love the Wallace St. Paul moniker. It's great, but I'm just going to throw it out there, see if it sticks. Because it's so long, I'm just going to say the Wall of St. Paul, the Wall. I'm going to go Pink Floyd. I'm just going to call him Pink Floyd from now on, the Wall. So I'm just going to do that and see what happens. Maybe it catches on with three friends at the rink. Maybe it explodes. Who
I like
knows?
it. I like it. Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, baby.
Well, we got Gus driving the bus. We got Pink Floyd. It's every
Two
team
words
needs character.
versus five. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Every team needs character, and I think the Wild have that, which is good. I think the locker room sounds like it's in a good position. Now, you and I made a bet before the season. I said Boldy was going to get 50
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
close.
I think you're going to win it. I'm going to go on the positive side and say you're going to win it and he's going to get it. And part of the reason I made that bet is because I'm kind of the darkness guy, and I'll go Costanza just so that it happens opposite. Because if you win that bet, we win that bet, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I hope you win it.
That's why I never put Wild guys
Really
on my
hope you
fantasy
do.
team, because I want them to do well, and I never win. But I'm going to win this one.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. Um, all right. Well, we'll see how this pans out. High school hockey. Like we talked about earlier, big week coming up. Every week's a big week, but now we're getting down the stretch run. It should be fun, and also Minnesota Wild coming up. That'll be fun. We got Hockey Day Minnesota coming up. Um,
That's the 17th or 24th.
the 24th is the actual hockey
Okay.
day.
Okay.
But there's like a week
Yep.
long
Yep.
festivities that's being held in Hastings
Hastings.
this
Yep.
year. Yep. So be sure to go check that out. They got built a whole new outdoor facility there, which is
Right.
pretty cool. So we got that. U.S. Pond Hockey is on Lake Nokomis. Hopefully the weather's good for that. Girls hockey, they're wrapping up their regular season here pretty soon, and their section hockey is
Ooh,
going to
quick
start
through
up.
the season.
The season flies by, and then of course we cap it off with the state tournament, the Let's Play Hockey Expo down at downtown St. Paul at Grand Casino Arena and the St. Paul River Center. Be sure you come down to the Let's Play Hockey Expo. We got the latest and greatest in the hockey industry on display every year. It's always a great time, great opportunity. One big party at the end of the year to wrap up what is always a tremendous high school hockey season. So, again, this podcast brought to you by Absolute Filth. Check them out, www.hockeywax.com. If you're an Edina fan like Tom, you can get your
Oh,
cake
what?
wax.
Is that the rumor?
Well, we know you're an Edina guy. I'm a Hail Mary
All
guy.
right. All right.
I gotta talk to those guys, see if they can come
Yeah.
up with a church boy wax or something like that. Or they used to call us the church boys back when I went to, that was 30 years ago, a long time ago. Um, but check them out, hockeywax.com, absolute filth. And we will see you next time here on the Let's Play Hockey podcast. Tom, appreciate it. We'll have you back on next time.
Sounds good, Brian. Look forward to it.